2018 is almost over. It was widely speculated that the Mueller probe would finish by the year's end, but it still shows no sign of doing so. Sort of like a zombie. Dan Bongino rejoins us. Hi, Dan.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Look,
again.
is this is this a zombie walking through our system? What can we expect? Because obviously we had no real Attorney General with Jeff Sessions. Mr. Rosenstein obviously was not putting any parameters on Mr. Mueller. Mr. Whitaker, the acting Attorney General. There are many things you can do to rein in someone to indicate that it's time to find, the end result here. What do you think is going to happen here? When would this end?
Yeah, I think a really common sense, basic question needs to be asked to the Mueller probe, him and his pit bulls, Weissman and the rest of them. Are you going to produce evidence of collusion or not at some point? Tammy, it's been 2 years now. Think about this. Their key witness in the case, Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney at one point. Michael Cohen was a central component of this entire case in the dossier, supposedly, according to the dossier, having gone to Prague to set up this email hacking scandal, right?
Right.
Cohen's the key witness. Cohen has repeatedly said over and over, I have never been to Prague. This is Mueller's key guy.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point do you just say, listen, where's the beef, man? Do you have anything, Mueller, or not? And if you don't, for the sake of the Republic, it's time to wrap this witch hunt up.
Look, I've mentioned that from the start, all of these kinds of investigations are political. And that Bob Mueller would know that it's political, and that anyone accepting the job to be the special counsel knew that it was going to be a political position. And at the same time, as it became apparent that the FISA warrants, that the dossier was fake, you'd think that he would have some second thoughts about his trajectory and if he was at all serious, what his job really was, if his position was created effectively by some degree of fraud. Do you see him as being, he's got, people say he's an honest guy and he's an honorable guy. I don't know. Are we seeing signs of that? Wouldn't he just decide when enough is enough if he really wasn't an honorable man at this point?
Listen, I don't know Bob Mueller, but I can tell you what, this is not an honorable investigation. Listen, I worked as a federal agent for 11 years investigating very high-profile cases. I'm not patting myself on the back. The taxpayers paid for it. It was a great job. I loved it. But, Tammy, here's how it works. People walk into the Secret Service office I was in with evidence of a crime, counterfeit or whatever, and you go and investigate subjects and suspects. You don't walk into the Secret Service office or an FBI office with a suspect but no crime. You don't walk in and say, hey, listen, Mr. Mueller, I need you to investigate Donald Trump. For what? I don't know, something. Maybe he ripped the mattress tag off sometime. This is what's happening. This investigation, the act of the Bob Mueller investigation, has produced crimes later on, process crimes, false statements. But there has never been a scintilla of evidence that the purpose of this thing, and I use air quotes because it has no purpose anymore, collusion actually exists. That's the problem.
Yeah, look, the American people clearly, this needs to conclude naturally. We need to have answers for the American people. Nobody needs to be fired. There are ways that the Attorney General can make this end. Dan, thanks for joining us again. I appreciate it. All right.
Thanks,
this
Dan.
is on Christmas Eve. You might